Unlike, say, a Saurav Ganguly, who had Dravid, Kumble, Lakshman in the same team and therefore knew that they were worthy contenders apart from him to lead the team, is Virat Kohli facing a situation where he's never had anybody of equal stature. Since he came in the post-Tendulkar generation, he's been leader of the pack by far. So now, recently, because of his wins with the Mumbai Indians, Rohit Sharma has emerged as a captain in his own right. But so far, and for the longest time, Kohli was a step above. Therefore, he simply now can't reconcile with the idea that he's been sacked so summarily without anybody extending the courtesy and thanking him for what he's done.
Sure, Rahul, you make a good point. And the fact is the superstar culture has always existed in Indian cricket. And Virat Kohli was the superstar. You could liken him, at his peak to what Amitabh Bachchan was in the late 70s in the film industry. There's Amitabh Bachchan and then there's no one. Similarly, for a long time, it was Virat Kohli. I mean, Virat Kohli was in the post-Tendulkar generation, the dominant figure, or post-Tendulkar Dhoni generation, the dominant figure of Indian cricket. But it's not that. It's the way I come back to it, Rahul. This has always happened. I was just looking at Googling 1958-59. India had 4 test captains in a 5-test series against the West Indies. And there is this incident that I cite in my book, Democracy is 11, where Polly Umrigar was garlanded the evening before, congratulated that he's going to be captain. Next day, somebody else becomes captain.
That's like what happened in the Gujarat chief ministerial race.
I mean, there was a bizarre, Punjab. There was one bizarre day where I think Vinu Bankar was the captain. He got injured. G.S. Ramchand was made captain. By the evening, Hemu Adhikari's name had come up. Indian cricket has done crazy things. There was the famous, of course, choice by Vijay Merchant as chairman of the selectors. He had to choose the casting vote between when Pataudi was finally replaced after being captain for 9 years. At that time, this is very similar. At that time, nobody thought that the great Mansoor Ali Khan Pataudi, who was the big superstar of the 60s, could ever be replaced. So you see, Indian cricket has this superstar syndrome. It has intrigue, palace intrigue, and a lack of transparency in the BCCI. You see, the BCCI is more professional today in terms of, giving players greater commercial, recognizing their commercial value, which they didn't all those years ago. What they haven't changed is their opacity, their lack of transparency. Just like the accusation against the Prime Minister at times is that he doesn't do press conferences, neither does the BCCI. So all of us are discussing something in the absence of the selectors telling us what is their mind, in the absence of the BCCI telling us what is, they will send a terse press release. That's not good enough. So the world must change.
Soon Mr. Gavaskar will accuse us of mixing our cricketing and political metaphors, which he did last time, so I'm staying away from that. But Kirti Azad has played a bit of cricket and politics, so tell me this. Would you accept that the BCCI needs to be far more transparent and communicative about what they're thinking and why? You can't just say, "Main isko hata dunga, off with his head, he's gone, his time is over, I have a new plan." These are people involved, human beings with emotions. You need to carry them along.
Sure, and after they have done such human service, as Rajdeep was saying, it was like the Amitabh Bachchan on a cricket field for so many years. So whenever a certain thing happens like this, and somebody who's really big and good, I mean, I know nobody's indispensable, but then you should have good communication with the player. It's not only that you should be commercially really good, high and happy. I feel that you have to be emotionally correct even with players, because players too are emotional people. And I think players are basically emotional fools. We get carried away with our emotions. So when a situation as such comes in, people should, the administrators in the BCCI should understand and know as to what can happen and what repercussion can take place. And hence they should be ready with it. Because again, I come to the same point. If he had already told the BCCI that he's not available for T20 and he's not available for the one-day games in South Africa, this is all before the fiasco. And now all the thing about the rift that is coming out, again, I mean, didn't Azharuddin know about it? That he had already spoken about that he won't be available for the one-day games. So who's creating this rift? Those who just want to have some good time on social media, have a little bit of a fame, and that's about it. I'm such a great player like Azhar doing that. Doesn't look nice.
No, he did not say
I would again say.
He didn't really say it was a rift. He said A plus B, the timing of it. He said the timing of it suggests that there is a rift. Please come out in the open and give some clarity. I think the tweet was something like that. He never said that there's a...
clarity would come if you had a system.
Exactly.
No, the clarity would come
let
in Australia, where you take a decision, you give a reason for it. There's someone who fronts up and says, this is the reason why we made the change. I tell you, going back in history, Farooq Engineer, all these years later, now in his 80s, still says, I don't know why I wasn't made captain in 1975 against West Indies, because evening before I was told I was going to be captain, next day Venkat Raghavan becomes captain. Till this day, all 40 years later, he still has this grouse in his mind. Why wasn't I told why I was not made captain the next day? So you see, Indian cricket has always been opaque. And I think that, in these times when things are so professional otherwise, surely a press conference where you answer these basic questions. Why have you gone from Kohli to Sharma? There's a perfectly logical reason to explain why Rohit Sharma is the white ball. Just make it logical and tell people.
And also, I suppose captaincy is nobody's birthright. I mean, you've got every right to change the captain, provided there's a reason. Virat never allowed you any reason on the cricket field. In terms of the number of victories that India had in all the 3 formats, he's going to be the most successful test captain ever, probably, when he finishes. One days, T20s, he did well. But it was the lack of important tournaments or key games. And I think it wasn't just the lack of results, Rahul, like I said. I think within the dressing room, there was a feeling that he had alienated himself.
Why? How?
He, maybe like Rajdeep said, the superstar culture, he thought maybe he was the one. And there were younger players in the team who felt they needed a pat on their back, and at times Virat wasn't there. Backing Hardik Pandya to the extent that the same Hardik Pandya who's not playing cricket now, mid-December, saying that I'll only start playing when I'm fit, played in the World Cup. The selectors wanted to change him. Virat said, no, I want him in the seat. And there have been other cricketing logics as well.
Two guys who mastered the art.
Leadership.
You've got Mr. Gavaskar. Very interestingly, one should ask him, he actually left the captaincy at the top because he won the 1985 Champions of Champions cricket tournament.
But he had announced
and said that had announced before that this is it.
By
so he left
the wall of a hotel in Chandigarh.
And you've got MS Dhoni, who was perhaps clever enough also to realize that maybe things were not going well for him now in overseas when India was losing, and on his own decided enough is enough. So captains have to be willing to do that.
Rajdeep, Dhoni again, I think the third test match of a difficult tour in Australia.
Maybe he should not have done it.
He should have completed this.